Welcome to the Power of Love show, sponsored by the D.D. Jackson Foundation, where we shine a light on loss and grief and how it impacts our lives. We are here to provide hope, resources, and a community so no one feels alone in their grief. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Power of Love show, sponsored by the D.D. Jackson Foundation, where we shine light on loss and grief and how it impacts our lives. My name is TJ Jackson, and with me is my eldest brother, Taj Jackson.
What's going on, T?
I am doing very well, man. How are you?
Good. Doing well.
Very good. Today's date is July 21, 2021, and we are live, of course, on Facebook and YouTube. So if you are joining us right now, we want to thank each and every one of you who are joining us, who are contributing to the show, and who are being part of the show. With that said, you can also be listening to us on a podcast on all the podcast platforms. And if you're doing so, thank you so much for listening. We want to encourage you to subscribe. And if you really like our show, to leave a review, as it helps others who may be looking for content just like we do find us. Mm-hmm. So with that said, we should do the disclaimer. And that disclaimer is we are not licensed therapists. We are just ordinary people who've experienced loss in our lives. We've been impacted by it, and we've learned from it. Saying that, we like to share our opinions in an attempt to help you get through whatever it is you are going through. But if you need professional help, we urge you to seek it and to find it. Please do not rely just on us. Taj Jackson, we have a cool show lined up for today. But before we introduce our guests, I want to ask you, how was your week?
I had to cheat and look at the calendar, obviously, which your birthday was in that, and also Todd, one of pretty much the one that spearheads the foundation, and that birthday the next day. So there's a couple birthdays in this week. But besides that, there's birthdays and appointments. I had a doctor appointment, but also Tori had a doctor appointment or an eye appointment.
Cool. So you've officially announced your baby, and name is Toria. Yeah. And I think was this the very first time you said the name on the show? I think so.
I think I said it one other time.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. Originally, my name, if people don't know, my name was Toriano, and so Toria is kind of in there for Toriano.
Cool. I love it. So
then it changed to Teriano. It's another long story. We'll talk about that later. But yeah.
Okay. As for my week, Taj, as you said, it's my birthday.
I'm doing fine, by the way. Thanks for asking about the doctor appointment.
No, okay. I was about to say, are you seeing comments that I'll see? Todd, first of all, yeah, you're probably right. I know you're doing fine. You can tell me if not. But yes, on to more important things. My birthday. My birthday was a cool one. Relaxing. It's funny because as you get older, a good birthday is one where you're kind of just chilling, relaxing, and enjoying it with family. It's not as much about parties, and I was never into that, to be honest, but never about, dinners or expensive things. It never was that. And we just chilled, and it was beautiful. So that's what we did. Another year, I feel another year wiser. I feel good. I haven't been feeling good, but I'm starting a healthy journey of 8 weeks of eating healthy and being in shape. You partially, Taj, inspired me, as I know you're doing that yourself. So it's something we both can do together to reclaim our health, as this pandemic has been tough for a lot of us. So that's what I've been up to. It's just grinding and trying to become a better person each and every day. So nothing too exciting to announce or to talk about besides that. With that said, Taj, I do want to say this. I want to piggyback off what you said and give a special birthday wish to Todd, who is the head of our foundation and someone who always seems to be behind the scenes, but is so passionate about D.D. Jackson Foundation and gives everything he can to make it as great and as special as it is. So Todd, on behalf of Taj and I and the entire board, we want to thank you for being you and hope you had a wonderful day. All right. So Taj, I think we have a great show. So I think it's time to just go straight into it if you're cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So on today's episode of the Power of Love Show, we welcome a special guest and an author. She wrote If Grandma Were Here. It's the one and only Miss Amber Bradbury. Amber was inspired to write If Grandma Were Here by two separate emotions, joy and sorrow. Very cool. Joy in experiencing the loving relationship she had with her mother, paternal and maternal great-grandmothers and grandmothers growing up in a very tight-knit family, and sorrow due to two tragic losses, that of her own mother from a random act of violence and of her paternal grandmother in a car accident. That deprived her kids of all the experiences Amber wished they all could have had together if both were still alive today. On where she got the inspiration for her book, Amber says, originally, I came up with this idea as a story for my toddler who never got the chance to meet my mother and grandmothers, and as a way for my older children to hold on to the memories they'd made with my mom and my late grandmother before those memories start to fade. So since I couldn't find any books for children and families dealing with grief that included diverse characters to which everyone can relate, I decided to write one myself. Amber now juggles life in upstate New York as a writer, wife, mom, and caregiver to her father-in-law in a lively, multi-generational house that leaves little time for her other passion, photography. But it does provide much inspiration for her newest book, If Grandpa Were Here, which is coming soon. Amber hopes everyone who has ever lost a doting grandparent will want to include both books in their personal libraries as a source of comfort, inspiration, and joy. Without further ado, everyone, please help me welcome author Amber Bradbury to the Power of Love show. Amber,
Hi.
how are you?
How are you? I'm great. How are you?
So we are doing just fine. We want to thank you for joining us today. We want to commend you for joining us today. It's never easy talking about loss. And we also want to congratulate you for not only the book you already have out, but the book that is coming out. I think it's awesome that you are doing what you're doing. And I just want to personally thank you for that. I have to ask you, Amber, I'm going to start off here. What inspired you to write your book, If Grandma Were Here? And what can people expect from reading it?
Well, what inspired me was experiencing the traumatic loss of my mother, Yvonne, who was a victim of an unfortunate homicide in 2013, and my paternal grandmother, Priscilla, who passed away 3 years later in a car accident. After my grandmother, Priscilla, passed away, I realized that all the matriarchs in my family were gone. And being a mother of three, I knew I had to preserve those stories and their legacies. And readers can expect a multi-generational, heartwarming, and loving story that will rekindle those childhood memories that we all have. Like being in the kitchen with grandma, watching her cook, or even helping her, or going to the museum, or even just getting a big warm hug from grandma that we all love. We love grandma hugs.
Yeah. I want to ask, did you always think you'd be a writer? Was that always part of the plan for you?
No, not at all. No, I always enjoyed writing, but I never thought I would be writing a children's book. It's something that kind of just came to me. One day I was sitting on the couch, and I think I was just thinking about my mom and grandmothers and how much I missed them and all the things that they've missed. And that's really where If Grandma Were Here came into my mind. And then I just started writing, and that's it.
I commend you for writing, not only for helping others, of course, but I love how your reasoning, your how it's going to help continue the memories for your toddler who's now older, but for your children, I should say. I think it's very commendable. I think it's very wise, and I love that you're doing that.
Thank you.
I want to say, when bringing this vision of your book to life, was diversity always an important element in planning the book? And do the characters resembling your members of your own they do resemble your own family members, right? And if so, why
Yes.
that was so important?
So diversity was definitely vital because I come from a diverse family. We're African American, Dominican, Caucasian, and I did the 23andMe DNA test. So like we're a little bit of, I think, everything. So it was very important. Um, and what was I going to say? I forgot. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, what about the resembling of your family? Was that always
Yes.
important for the characters?
Yes. So I wanted to make sure that I honored my family, like my mother, grandmother, and 3 children who are the characters in the book.
Mhm.
And the illustrator, Jessica Corbett, she just did such an amazing job bringing my vision to life.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Taj.
Was I know you said you just started writing, like you were sitting there kind of wondering, and was that scary for you in a way to just take that hurdle or that leap from, okay, now I want to make this a children's book in that way? And did you have a lot of support, or was it something that, what can you kind of talk about that aspect? Because I know there's a lot of people that in our chat and all that stuff that talk about, oh, I want to do this, or I want to do, but that they kind of have this hiccup or roadblock that they think they can't get by. So please talk about that.
Sure. Yeah. So once I wrote the story, I think it maybe took 30 minutes. I think I sent it to my husband, my uncle, like a few close family and friends. And like their response was just like incredible. They were like, oh my gosh, like I can see this as a book. And they really inspired me to really think about it as a book, because I just wrote it and I wasn't thinking that it was actually going to be a children's book.
Yeah.
So I think I definitely had support, and my husband for sure. He's my number one supporter, because he's the one that was like, just do it. So I was like, all right. So I just did it.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Amber, what was the most rewarding and most challenging aspect of bringing the book to fruition?
So I think the most rewarding is knowing that my mother, my grandmothers, and my children are going to forever live in this book, but also how many other families I'm going to help with my book, because I already have. I mean, there's therapists that are using it to help the grieving patients. I get messages from people reading it, just how much it's really helped them with loss, and even seniors that read it, they're like, oh my gosh, like I wish I had something like this when I was younger. So it's really been very rewarding. But I think the most challenging part was knowing where to start and what route to take in the publishing world, because there's just so many different things you can do. It can become confusing.
What advice would you give to parents in terms of explaining loss to their children?
I would say don't wait until it happens to talk about death, because then you're going to be grieving on top of having to explain it to your children, and it will make you feel worse. And that's what happened with me when my mom passed away, because it was so sudden. My kids were 3 and 5 at the time, so I wasn't prepared. And I think that was very challenging. So I would say just start talking about it.
Amber, I think that's such great advice. I don't know if you're familiar, but we lost our mother to domestic violence and in a horrible way. And we hadn't really talked about loss or death really at all prior to that. And that would be the same advice I'd give and for those in the community who haven't experienced a serious loss like that, just you being here and understanding and talking about it will help you cope and get through your situation. If hopefully if, but when that ever happens. And I think I've said this so many times that I think our society doesn't do a good enough job of preparing us for loss and how to deal with it in a healthy way. And that is one reason why we decided to do this foundation and make it this as the theme of it, is because we're trying to bring attention and prepare people for loss in life, because it's going to happen in some way or another. And the better you're prepared, the better you'll be able to handle that. So your response, I absolutely love. I do want to ask you something in pertaining to your book. At what age would it be appropriate? Like, what age do you think your book is geared for?
So it's geared for ages 3 to 5, but I mean, you can start reading to an infant. You can start reading to young children. I mean, the earlier you start reading, the more they're really going to understand. And you know, we as parents and caregivers, we prepare our children for life, but we don't prepare them for death. So I think that's really important. And not to say that you have to talk about death all the time, but just talk about it. Read. That's really the most important thing, is I think just reading. Just like any other book you would read, just read a book about loss.
Yeah. And Clarice asked, what would be a good age to talk to children? I'm with you, Amber. I don't think there's it's never too early. It's part of our life. It's part of something they'll always experience. And if we wait too long, we're giving others the opportunity to tell our kids, or to scare them, or to give them whatever emotions they think they're supposed to have, without having any control or any positive influence on how to handle that. So I personally, like Amber, think that it's never too early to talk to them about it. Caitlin has a question, Amber. What do you think your grandma and mom would think of this beautiful gesture? I'm sure they would be so touched.
I agree. Yes, they would be. They would be very proud. I know they would. And my grandfather, he's 91. When I was writing the book, he knew that I was writing a book, but he didn't know what I was writing about. So when I actually had the physical book, I brought it to him, and he was. I know he was really, really proud and touched, and my other family members were as well. But I know they're very, very happy.
So, and it says, I was going to ask you, where can people get the book? But for those who are listening on the podcast and you have no visuals, it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, Target. It's an ebook as well. But you can also, I assume, go ahead, Amber, were you going to say www.ifgrandmawerehere.com to learn more?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, they can go to ifgrandmawerehere.com. Basically, anywhere books are sold online, you can purchase my book. But I would like to say you should support local bookstores. So if they don't carry my book, they can always order it. That's very important.
And they order it through the website, Amber?
Well, so if the bookstore doesn't have my book in stock, they can just ask them to order it, and they'll be able to.
Gotcha. You're saying the local bookstores can order it.
Exactly. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, Taj, it's hard because I don't want to cut you off. You're good. Did you have something, Taj?
I have a couple of questions, but not now.
It's brewing. All right. It's brewing. All right, cool. So, Amber, tell us about the second book too, that is currently in the works, one that you're working on, If Grandpa Were Here.
So it's similar to If Grandma Were Here, because each scene shares a heartfelt memory, but it'll feature different experiences, like going fishing, learning to ride a bike, or having Grandpa cheer you on from the sidelines, which I know is very important. I didn't play sports, my husband did, so I know his grandpa cheered him on baseball, so that was really special. And I'll be working with an illustrator named Bev Johnson. It's different from If Grandma Were Here. She's doing such an amazing job, and I'm really, really excited to be working on it.
Nice.
Did you always have that idea of doing If Grandpa Were Here, or when did that click in?
That's a good question. because when I published If Grandma Were Here, I didn't even know what to expect. I didn't know what I was doing. So I think it was really the response I was getting from people, and not just my family and friends,
Mhm.
but other people who purchased my book and really loved it. So I thought, well, if I have If Grandma Were Here, I have to have If Grandpa Were Here too,
Mm.
because not everyone has a grandpa. I have both of mine. So my grandfather was like, well, what do you mean I'm still alive? Like, I know.
I have another question for you, Amber.
Mhm.
Beyond your book, which I know is a huge benefit and something not only your kids, but any kids that have lost a grandmother can benefit from, is there any other advice you give to those who have lost their maternal figures? Because as I age, and I recognize this quite young, probably because I had a child young, that the maternal and grandmother and the power that is there for a child and the importance of it in development of a child and the role they could play. Our kids won't be able to really experience that completely. So my question is there anything that you would recommend people who are in a similar situation without that maternal figure beyond the mother to help in the raising of a kid?
That's a good question. For me, I think it's really just talking to my kids, talking to your children about their memories, who they were, telling stories, learning about who their grandmother was,
Mhm.
even reaching out to communities like yours, the Dee Dee Jackson Foundation. There's lots of people you can reach out and talk to.
Mhm.
Um, but I just really think keeping their memories alive is very important, and just always talking about them and making sure your children feel like they know them, even if they've never met them.
Mhm.
That's beautiful.
That is.
Taj, is it brewing still? I have another question, but I don't want to.
Go for it. I'll go for your next question.
You sure? Okay. Okay, Amber, why do you think having both the books, do we have a release date or a schedule tentative for If Grandpa Were Here?
It should be released by the end of the year.
Okay.
That's my plan.
Okay. Why do you feel having both of these books in one's home, school, public library would be so beneficial to children?
I think grief is something that should be talked about and welcomed everywhere. Schools are now even implementing social and emotional aspects of learning, because they know that if children cannot express their emotions, then it's going to impact them negatively, their development. So by supporting my book, you're also helping children's mental health and well-being.
Mm. And and to piggyback, I just think it opens up conversations. It's a great way.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, when our kids lose someone of significance, they could shut down. And when you have a book, it's a vehicle to help them start talking and opening up. And it also lets them know they're not alone, that there are others out there who've went through their experience. Because as Taj says, we all say, but really Taj always says, it's the isolation that is the really hard thing for recovery, when you feel so alone in your grief. So I would just
That's
add
true.
that your books are going to help tremendously in just being a vehicle for others to start the conversation. So again, thank you for doing your thing. What
You're welcome.
what is after I know we still got If Grandpa Were Here coming up, but is there any long-term plans that you want to do even beyond that?
Well, so the next project that I've been thinking about, my best friend Eunice, her daughter Eliana, she's 6. She's battling leukemia right now, and she's in remission. But during the process, she told me, like, there's no good books about childhood cancer. So really what I want to do is get together with Eliana and write a book about childhood cancer, maybe through her experiences. So other kids who are dealing with it can connect to it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Great.
That I love it, Amber. Keep writing, and
you.
everyone, you're giving so many people different options to connect and again feel like there's support for them. So I commend you. I do want to shout out Brandy real quick with the super chat. She says, "Hello, TJ, Taj, and Amber. Thanks for doing the show. I never met my grandparents. My mom's parents passed away when she was young, ages 7 and 16, and my dad is not here." Brandy, we are sending you so much love, and thank you for sharing that. Again, it's for so many people out there will be able to connect with you and feel some warmth in what you said. So thank you so much. One more thing I want to highlight is I saw Lena made a challenge to see if we could get 100 in donations, and then Ippolita just did a super sticker for 50 euros. So thank you guys so much. And for anyone who's just watching, all of this goes to our 501c3, the Dee Dee Jackson Foundation. No one on the board is paid. It's all volunteer, and everything you guys donate, when we receive it, we make sure it goes back into the communities to help them get through whatever they're going through and to become the best people they can. So again, big thank you to Ippolita and everyone else who's been supporting us, not only today, but on the entire journey that is DDJF. Taj, you are running out of time, man. Oh, you seem like you're ready.
Yes, I have not really questions. They're more statements. So.
I love it. Let's hear them.
I would love to. I know that I think that the 3 books would be amazing, and I think they are going. The second and then the third one will be amazing. I would love to see a cartoon out of it too for that aspect of it. I think in terms of those are such powerful topics in a way, and I just love the aspect of it in terms of the storytelling and whatever. So that's what I would push you towards next, Amber.
I agree.
After that, I mean, it's very. That's what I see in the future. So just mark that down.
Thank you. I will. I'm going to write it down
because it's needed in that way. And I can tell you, as someone that has 2 younglings that are not at that age yet, but will be at that age where I can read to them. In terms of we're going to start early with this already. But you said 3 and 5 is kind of the demo for it. But I also know visually
you can read now.
Huh?
You can start reading now. Yeah.
I will make sure she starts reading now, especially since I don't know if you know our background as well. We also lost a grandma on my mom's side of the family soon after our mom passed. We have a lot of similarities in that way, besides the New York and Dominican aspect of it too. So there's a lot of stuff that when you were talking rang true to me in that way. But that's what I would push you towards too as well in that way, because I think it's such a universal story that we don't talk about in that way. And I love all 3 ideas in that. So that was more of a statement. Sorry for that one. But this one is more of a statement too. It's because I've talked about in the past about doing. People ask, what can you do when you feel grief or loss and stuff, and you would say like do something in honor of that person, and I know that's what you did in that way with your grandma and your mother as well, in that, and how great of a feeling that feels to do that, and I'm sure you feel proud that especially that it's helping other people in that way, strangers, not just family. That's going to always great or whatever, but actual stranger that's you're changing lives and helping lives, and so I commend you on that. So it was just a statement. It's not a question.
Thank you very much. No, I really appreciate it.
2 statements, not a question yet. This question hasn't brewed yet. Yeah.
All good, Taj. All good. Yeah. All right, Amber. So a couple things. First, how can people find you?
At Peace, Love, and Press on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay,
I'm not too into Twitter. I have Twitter, but I don't use it that much.
Yeah.
Why, Amber? Why don't you think you're into Twitter?
I don't know. I just haven't really. I'll post things and I'm like, I don't know. I think I just like the visual aspect of
Got it.
Instagram and Facebook versus Twitter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that from the photography background? Is that what?
I think so. Probably. I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Amber, when I was going through the bio, you have a lot of similarities to me. I love photography as well and haven't really been
really?
able
Well,
to love it, but haven't been able to dive in and pursue it. And so when did you get it?
Just
Just
do
do
it.
it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taj knows. I've called him several times asking him about cameras, and he's
Just
like, "Oh,
get
this
one."
again?"
But then you overthink it, and that's what I did.
Yeah,
I was wondering what camera to get, then you overthink it, then you don't get it, and then it's just the
Yeah.
circle of
It's
the
crazy.
same stuff. So just do it.
Crazy. I know. I will. Hopefully next time, because I want to get you back if Grandpa were here.
Of course.
I want to get you back for that when that's out, and to give it more support. And we need these kind of books. So this is what the DDJF is about, and we need to help and support each other. And when special people like you are writing books and talking about this, especially for our youth, we got to support it. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
It's 100% true. So again, this is Amber Bradbury. If you want to learn more information about her amazing book, If Grandma Were Here, you can go to any bookstore and look it up. But also you can just start at www.ifgrandmawerehere.com. Amber, I gave you a warning before we even started that towards the end of the show, we were going to give our guests up to a minute to talk about anything you want to talk about. So my first question is, are you ready for that minute?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's hear it, Miss Amber. Go ahead. A minute starting now.
Okay, so I'd like to say, make sure to cherish the time you spend with your loved ones. Ask questions, put down your phone, and just be present in the moment. That's very important. And I'd also like to thank you guys really for having me on, and for your families for creating this wonderful space for grieving people, because it's helping so many people around the world. Then I just wanted to leave with a question for you too. Is he still there?
He's not here, but he'll be back soon. Something's been funky. Here he goes. Hold on, Amber. So here he is. Okay, question time. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So music is therapeutic, and I want to know, when you guys are grieving, what's your go-to song, album, or artist?
That's a good question, Amber. No, really. I don't think this was asked to me. Taj, do you want? I think I know what my answer is, but so Taj, if you need more time, I can go.
Go for it. I don't know.
All right. For me, Amber, I don't know if it's a specific song or artist. I think it's a sound. I think ocean waves, just being around nature. As I've gotten older, I've learned the value of nature and how healing it is, and how much connection it can give you into who you are, and it just seems so therapeutic and so refilling. So for me, I don't necessarily think there's an artist for my grieving. I think it's more just sound. And with that said, I would just encourage anyone who may be going through a difficult time to utilize, nature sounds to help in refilling you. Oftentimes, especially in today's world, there's so much clatter, so much noise that isn't really helping us heal. So if you're in a healing state of mind and you know the importance of it, I suggest to rely on nature and the wonderful sounds it gives.
Yes. And my answer is not an artist, it's a decade. Like the 80s
Ooh.
and the 70s are like the happy times for me, happy music. So I just like that happy music in that way. So I find myself really relying on listening to oldies or classics in that time period of the 80s/70s is kind of my, I would say that's been my go-to always in that way. And it's more of nostalgia, I would say.
Like the good days. Right.
the good days in that way. I
Yeah.
find like when I'm really sad, like it's something that reminds me of just happiness or something in that way, or if the song's very happy, I just can't help but feel a little better in that way.
That's a good answer, Taj. So basically, you're saying happy moments and soundtracks that provide happiness for your personal life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Happy
Amber,
time.
I have to know now. Is there a song or an album or artist for you?
Yeah.
So when I'm grieving, I don't know. I like songs that just move me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a duo that I listen to called Johnny Swim. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them. It's a husband and wife duo. It's actually Donna Summer's daughter and her husband.
Oh, wow.
And their music is incredible, and it just really moves me. So I'd recommend listening to them.
Yeah.
Cool. I say their name one more time, Amber.
They're called Johnny Swim.
Johnny Swim. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Never heard of them, but I'm going to check them out.
Yeah. Please.
And another thing, Amber, you gave us an idea for a future show. We got to talk about the role music and sounds play in healing. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I will make sure we give you a shout out when we do that.
Foundation.
Great,
Never thought about it. Yeah, right. We're musicians who do this, and we never.
And we have a music therapy class, though. So
there you go. But okay, there's two more super chats I need to highlight before we end today's show. This one is from Jennifer, who says, sending love to those who lost grandparents, mothers, maternal father figures, even for those who never lived to be a mother. My profile photo is of Latasha Harlins, who was murdered in 1991 at the age of 15. Amber, love to Amber and all y'all. That is so beautiful, Jennifer. And thank you so much for the super chat, but also for your amazing story and for sharing that information. I think it's, as I've always said, I think we have to get to a point where we could talk about loss and it will help heal not only yourself, but everyone who's involved. So I truly appreciate that. And then the other...
Can I say really quick?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
We actually connected through your group, and she went to college with my cousin. So, and we have a lot in common. So we've been talking. So hi, Jennifer.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that, Amber.
Yeah.
Buticia Smith says, hey, Taj and TJ, I lost my mom 6 years ago. My daughter and I still struggle. So thank you for your show and the help you give. You are more than welcome. We are here for you all. I think, and Amber can attest to this, I think when you lose someone of such significant value, you want to help others. And it also helps us in talking about it and sharing our stories and their legacies in the way that we're doing. It helps us even heal. So, Buticia, we want to thank you for the super chat, but also wish you the love and support, and we will continue to do this. And thank you for just letting us know that we're helping you guys. So thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anyone else needs to say anything before we close today's show?
I just want to thank you guys very much for the opportunity. It means a lot. It really does.
You are more than welcome, Amber. And again, for everyone, if Grandma were here, go check it out. Go pick it up. Any of the bookstores. If they don't have it at the bookstores, ask them to order it. And as Amber says, let's try to support the local bookstores first, as they are the ones who are being threatened the most going forward in our economic scale or in our economic society, and with Amazon doing what they're doing. But we want to just thank you, Amber, for being on our show.
Yes.
And for all of you all who are listening, who are watching, thank you guys for your continued support. We are going to sign up.
We did
hit our goal. Good call, Taj. Lena set a goal of 100.
In the comment, so we did.
Did we raise 100, Jennifer? Yes, we did. Taj did his math. And Lena, thank you for starting that challenge. And thank you guys for supporting DDJF. It means the absolute world to us. So thank you all so much. Amber, you be safe. We'll see you next time for If Grandpa Were Here. And keep doing your thing, okay?
I will. Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.